And welcome. This is the Adam Messer Show, and I'm your host, Adam Messer, here with my special guest and my good friend, Josh Vasquez. Welcome back, Josh. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back again.
Dude, I love it. I love it. So, for those of you who don't know, or this is your first time listening to the show, thank you for tuning in. This is kind of like an impromptu, not even so much an interview. We're just going to do a show today, and it's kind of an impromptu thing. I had a guest that was not able to come in, so Josh is my pitch hitter, and he's like, knocking it out the park for me. So here he is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited, man. Thank you very much. So, Josh Vasquez, y'all, is an author and micro story here. I met Josh because I was writing for the newspaper, and he had sent me a message about his books, the Savannah Zombie novel series, and we just hit it off. We've been friends since I think 2015 or something like that,
Yeah.
and we're also I talk a lot about Valhalla Books. Josh is publishing his books with us as we're part of the. He's been with me since the beginning when I started doing the Savannah Quill, and then the Books and Brews, and now Josh is with me with the Valhalla Books, and so
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about it. He and I have been doing a podcast for the last 2 months. We started doing it called Valhalla Books Podcast, and we thought I thought it'd be kind of neat. Josh agreed that we do like a little, radio segment today, and we're just going to do this next hour and talking about, like stuff we're doing with writing and publishing and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's definitely one of those shows. Like we just had a bunch of stuff. Like you had a guest fall through. This week was crazy for me at work with that weather we had on Thursday. I had to work on Friday, and normally the day we record stuff, and then I had a niece's lacrosse game on Saturday, and it was my little girl's birthday. She turned 2 on Saturday, so it's just been one of those weeks. So yeah, we're kind of just combining things together and knocking out an hour of radio and podcast for us as well.
yeah. And I know I said it yesterday, but happy birthday to your little girl. So that's pretty awesome.
Cool, I appreciate it. Yeah, we had a lot of fun yesterday. Just some family time.
Yeah, and that's a thing for me, Josh. Is like I know it sounds crazy, but having oh, okay. So for example, playing video games and stuff, and being in online guilds and stuff like that. Not just that, but like any kind of activity, I always feel family is first, always. And so that's one of the things I like about you is that you're a family man, and that you put your family first, and
Yeah.
so I admire and respect that about you too. So.
hmm
So, man, what's skinny on you? What you been up to this week besides working your tail off?
Yeah. Besides working my tail off, yeah, it's one of the things. So, like you mentioned, I am republishing my books with Valhalla Books. I've been working on most of the time finishing up the first book, A New Death, in the Savannah Zombie series. I am republishing that as a director's cut, kind of akin to the recent Zack Snyder's Justice League that just came out this past week.
Oh yeah,
It kind of like the original vision that I had when I first wrote it. There's some scenes in there that I've added that I don't know. I didn't add them the first go around because I was just inexperienced as a writer, and I was kind of second guessing a lot of things. But now that I'm more comfortable as a writer and all that, I've decided to go back and add in some extra stuff and rework it just to make it a little bit more of a polished deal for Valhalla Books. So I was actually working on that this afternoon.
and I just want to throw this out there too, officially, everybody. You might not have heard it yet, but Josh is my co-publisher with me. So,
Yes.
yeah. So we're working on these different things, and I'm pretty excited. Like your books, your new director cut is coming out on like the 30th, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
that's gonna
So,
to me that's a big deal, dude, because I think it's. I mean, like I know it sounds crazy, but it is a landmark thing for me. Going from like when I first met you to like picking your brain about like writing and stuff like that to starting this Valhalla Books to you becoming like a co-publisher with me, and I think it's like such a really just all the way. And everybody, Josh, I'm not trying to, humble brag. I'm just going to brag on Josh for a minute. Every time I have something that I want to do, like with literary stuff or whatever, Josh is always like, yeah, like I started doing the Savannah Cool stuff, the conventions, when I did these author readings, when I wanted to do the Books and Brews to raise funds for the Ronald McDonald charities of the Coastal Empire. Matter of fact, Josh was going to be my first guest on the radio show, but he couldn't because of a scheduling thing. And so he was on my very second show doing this show. And he's been a co-host with me on the show. We've done a lot of cool stuff together. So yeah, I'm really excited about your book coming out, your new series coming out. Well, new series, but it is going to be a new book in the series. The first two, you're doing a director cut, so it's like behind the scenes stuff that you would not have gotten in the original. And then the third book is not ever been published.
Nope, the third book has not been published. It was one of those things that I've been working on it like on and off for years. When I first wrote like the first two novels, like it was just me and my wife. Like we didn't have two little girls yet. And once you get kids in the mix, all of that free time that you have kind of very quickly disappears. But it has been interesting, kind of just thinking about like the journey of like writing this book series and stuff like that. Because Facebook has been reminding me of it like this past week, with a different, like, how Facebook does like the memories and stuff like that, your past stuff. Well, I think it was Thursday or Friday, one of those days. I finished the first
Hold on for a second, Josh. I'm sorry. Hey, if we do happen to go off air, everybody, the power just flipped here. So if we do go off air, we'll try to get back on as soon as possible. But I just wanted to give you a heads up in case we do.
Okay.
We do go off air.
Cool.
But yeah, we're good now. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. But Facebook's been reminding me and different things that I've been posting, and like one of them recently was that I finished the first draft for the first book, A New Death. I finished it like 8 years ago, and here I am
in March, later. Right?
Yeah. Here I am 8 years later, finishing the director's cut for republishing with Valhalla Books. So it's kind of just, I don't know, it's just cool, just to kind of see, like back then, I posted it. It was like 51,000 words or something like that. And right now it's, I think the last time I checked before I walked out here was like at 68,000. So there's already like
beefed it up a little. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 20,000 more words in it. Which there might be by the time I'm actually done with it.
Well, you got about 3 days.
Yeah. No, Amazon keeps sending me the message.
Yeah. The I think it's 3 days before the release. You're allowed to upload the last one.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like they're kind of getting antsy, and it's like, hey, so if you don't make this date, you're not going to be allowed to pre-order books again.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, but. The only reason I even did a pre-order was just so we would have something to point to in the meantime. Like with the other two books in the series, I don't plan on pre-ordering those. Just gonna put them out on a certain day and all that.
I'm gonna throw this out there too. I love the new covers, and I think that you did a really nice job with because it has kind of the same feel to the old covers, but it also has kind of like an updated look, so it's kind of like an homage to the original.
Yeah.
And I like what you did there.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun too, making the new covers, because for the most part the font, like the title and the like author name, like those are the same fonts from the original cover, so it kind of carries that over. But I wanted to basically make it feel a little bit more like a series, that it was just a little bit more connected through the images. So that was one of the things I wanted to accomplish with that.
Nice. And Bass is in the studio. Bass, you mind playing a little live music there for us? Kind of celebrate the. You got something you could celebrate, like a little zombie type, getting a little creepy music or whatever. Or how about something really heavy? I know you play your acoustic, but. Awesome. Thank you, Bass. And yeah, so dude, I'm excited, man. I think it's pretty awesome. So y'all, Josh and I, we talk a lot, especially since I have been on a temporary layoff from work. Josh and I, we talk a lot about like, publishing and writing and stuff. And so we've been doing this like little short weekly podcast. It's just the Valhalla Books podcast. And, we talk about like what we're working on and the updates that we're doing. So we do like this little accountability check thing. And, Josh had suggested like, he's like, hey, so we talk already, why don't we just do a little podcast about it? And I was like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. So we started doing that. And we do this like a little accountability check-in. Like we're just, hey, what did I do? Or what are you working on? What do you got next? And that kind of thing. And this is the first time for me that I've had an accountability writing partner, especially with publishing and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of work that goes involved in not just writing, but also the editing and the publishing and the book packaging and, those kind of things. And you're talking about how much you've learned since then, and I feel like the same thing, man. I feel like I like back in 2014 is when I started writing fiction, and I feel like I've really learned a lot, and I feel like there's still a lot left to learn.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like reading back over your work and doing the new director cut stuff? What do you feel like you've noticed the most about how much you've grown as a person and as an author?
Well, okay, I think the biggest thing like for me is I guess like the confidence in my writing. Like going back and doing this director's cut, I was like thinking that I'd have to go back and really kind of like touch up a lot, but going back and actually kind of rereading it with like a fresh set of eyes, I was like, you know what, like I think I might have been a little bit harder on myself than what I really should have been. Like reading back on it, I'm like, all right, some of this is actually pretty good. I don't think I need to go back and adjust this. I don't need to go back and fix this scene. Like this actually worked out pretty fine. So I think that's the biggest thing is like I was thinking that I was going to have to go back and like tackle this and pretty much not rewrite the whole thing, but I thought there was going to be a lot more work to it. But really, just having the confidence in your own work is one of the things that I've kind of learned from it.
I think that is a good parallel too, because like Tolkien, he did that with his works, and based off of like with the printing, there were printing errors and different questions that people had that he updated and whatever. And I think that's really cool because when you go back through your work and and here it is, you're able to kind of be removed from it, right?
Yeah.
Because you've been away from it for a while, even though you've had the third story that you've been mulling it around for a while. The first story was like out there, and even that you got a short story that you had out there too.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool, man. And I know you've been working on it every week, getting it ready. And I know we've been talking about it a lot. I've been writing the third book of the vampire novel series, the Savannah Vampire novel series. So everybody, Josh, winking a nod to Josh Vasquez. My story is called Blood Thrasher, and it's the Savannah Vampire novel series, which is a winking a nod to the Savannah zombie novel series, which Josh is the author of. And Josh and I also I don't know. People are going to be like, what in the world are these guys doing? I literally, like, you guys would think that Josh and I are like hanging out every day. We don't. But we started a movie company called Dead Pixel Pictures last year.
Yeah.
And we did a movie short for the Devil's Due anthology, Valhalla Books, The Devil's Due, Nothing Is Ever As It Seems. 4-minute movie short, which Bill Cooper was the devil. Brent Fiesel was the guy, and Melanie Goldie was the lady in the thing, and so that was pretty cool. We also did the Oh No Zombies,
yes,
and that was really cool. And we're working on some other projects and all, but I think it's a lot of fun, man. I mean, like I literally enjoy it. We talk a lot about like storytelling and things like that, and so I feel like the accountability thing for me has been helping me. Like okay, like the last couple of days, I've been on average, writing about 500-600 words a night.
Yeah.
Thursday night was the only night that I only did like about 2 sentences, and then I was like, oh, because I didn't start writing until late. And I was like, oh, I got to get up early in the morning Friday because I had some things that I had to do by 8 o'clock. I was like, I can't stay up late and write. So Friday and Saturday, I wrote about 1,500 words. And then tonight I'm going to go home and I'm going to write. So, and I'm, 12,000 words into the third book. And my goal is 50,000. So, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're both like, we're storytellers kind of like at heart. So it doesn't really matter what the format is, whether it's us writing books or, making these short little movies or, podcasting or radio shows, it's all about, telling a story for us. And, so it's kind of doesn't really matter what format it is.
Hey, everybody, you're tuning in today live on the radio here at WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And if you're tuning in and you're missing out, this will be on the podcast, both the Adam Messer Show and also the Valhalla Books Show, and probably the Savannah Zombie Novel Series. If you want to put it out there, Josh, we can put it on there too.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, but so if you're tuning in and this is the first time listen to me and Josh talking, we're just like off the cuff. There's no script in here. We don't literally we don't kind of like, oh hey, what do we got to talk about this week? It's kind of like just hey, run and gun, and we just go.
Yeah.
Dude, I stopped at Odin and Sons beforehand, and I picked up the Transformers versus G.I. Joe book. And that they put it out a couple years back, but I've been on a Transformers kick lately, dude. Like the reading stuff.
Yeah.
So, how about you, man? You said that you watched the Snyder's Cut. I know you picked that movie up on Blu-ray before, and you watched it before. Like, I hate to sound like this, but you watched the Snyder's Cut before this week when everybody was like, "Ooh, the Snyder's Cut." Like you actually did.
No. I haven't watched because the Snyder Cut just came out this past week.
Which one was it that you watched?
It was the Ultimate Edition of Batman versus Superman.
Oh, okay.
That was, I think, the one that you were thinking about that we've talked about before.
But that wasn't that Snyder too, or no?
Yeah. So yeah, it's Zack Snyder's done Man of Steel and then Batman versus Superman.
Right, and the Batman versus Superman one, you did a podcast about it, right?
Yeah, so it was like it's basically like when the Blu-ray came out, they added the Ultimate Edition onto it, which was like another, I think like 35 minutes, and it's like, I guess, unrated, so it's a little bit I guess like there's blood and stuff in it, but either way, even that 30 minutes though, it just like the theatrical cut some scenes. And so like that extra 30 minutes of stuff in the Ultimate Edition just really made it a better movie in my opinion, and made me to like it a lot more as far as story wise. And then the whole deal with Justice League real quick is like Zack Snyder was in the middle of filming it, had a family tragedy and ended up kind of having to step aside and not be able to finish the movie. So Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon, who did Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, to basically finish up the movie. And in the process of doing that, he reshot a bunch of stuff, and the studios kind of meddled a little bit. And we ended up with this really mixed matched Justice League theatrical cut that everybody was pretty much not happy with. And there was this.
I have not watched the Snyder's Cut yet either.
Yeah, it's 4 hours long. I've actually still got like 45 minutes left in it because it's taken me like all weekend to try to get through.
Oh wow!
It's like I started watching it Thursday night, but like I said, I had to go into work on Friday, so like I watched 2.5 hours worth of it then, and then I think I watched another hour.
I saw somebody put a snippet, and it was it said something like, "This planet will fall. There's no protectors. There's no lanterns, and no Kryptonian."
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I just, growing up, I watched. Of course, we didn't have as many shows as now, but I, used to love like Batman and Superman, and they had the what was it, the Super Friends, Hall of Justice, and all that, and so that was I used to always love that, and Batman and Superman are two of my favorite characters of all time. I love Wonder Woman. Watched the Wonder Woman show when I was a kid. Watched the Incredible Hulk as a show as a kid, and so I always liked comic book heroes. And then I started reading comics probably like in, I'm gonna say, had to be like 1987, because the first one I ever read was the Incredible Hulk 336, and that was the same time I think around when the Spider-Man the Craven series was out, right before McFarlane took over. And so I've always loved superhero stuff, and I like, honestly, I Batman versus Superman, the Frank Miller Legend of the Dark Knight series is my favorite comic book series. I'd have to put that up there with X-Men's Phoenix Saga. For those are like two of my favorite storylines as a kid. Even as an adult, they still hold up,
Yeah.
But kind of going back to the Batman versus Superman, I wasn't really a huge fan of that show. I liked the first Wonder Woman. I did like Batman. I did like, the Superman like Returns and all that. Wasn't a big fan of that. I wasn't a big fan of Wonder Woman 1984 either. But I love Gal Gadot's version of Wonder Woman, and I feel like she really, and I heard that she was a major influence of them trying to bring the Snyder Cut out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the actors, in the Justice League actors, like a lot of them were very pro getting the Snyder Cut kind of released, because is like 4 hours long. The theatrical version was 2 hours long. So there's like 2 hours of extra footage in this one. Now, granted, like my opinion, there's a few scenes in here. It's like, all right, we could probably cut these a little bit down, but at the same time, I've also just been eating it up. But there's actually, I want to say, I heard that Zack Snyder shot like 5 hours of footage, so there's actually another hour of stuff that like they cut out of this one.
I wonder if they're going to put that on the Blu-ray or the DVD,
probably. I will.
The Ultra HD or whatever, Ultra 4K.
Yeah.
How about did you see, or I don't know if this is just rumor or not, but did you see where Henry Cavill was supposed to be in the Captain Marvel 2 movie?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw something like that over the weekend. I'm like, what?
Huh. Interesting. No, I haven't seen that.
I think he's a good version of Superman. I've always enjoyed.
Yeah.
Especially when they resurrect. Like, I haven't seen the version of the new one, but like when he's resurrected and like he's just tearing up, the Justice League people, and and that one part where the Flash is like running and it's in slow mo, and Superman's just like, you can see him catch him out of the corner of his eye, and the Flash is barely, gets out of the way of Superman beating him up. Yeah,
that's one of the things that I've liked about the Snyder Cut is that it has fleshed out the Flash and Cyborg a lot more. Where like in the theatrical version, you don't really get much of their backstory. Like, you're kind of like,
they
like
just
if you
pop
don't
up,
know if you don't know who these characters are, you're kind of like confused or lost a little bit. Where this version definitely gives them a little bit more, excuse my pun, but justice.
That's right. I am the Knight.
Yeah, but no, it's been a good week for comic book fans and all that. We had the Snyder Cut come out on HBO Max, and then Disney Plus dropped The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay, did you watch that yet?
Yeah, I watched that one.
Okay, I watched the first half of it, so no spoilers, but yeah, it's decent. It's decent.
It's good.
I was surprised. I was really surprised though. Josh was like, usually Disney stuff is not so. I mean, like there's a lot of like no spoilers here, but there's a lot of like violence and stuff, especially the first 5 minutes or so.
Hmm.
And I was really surprised because it's an Avenger title,
Yeah.
and I didn't think that they would be that hardcore about it.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's rated R or anything like that. I don't even know the rating on it, but
Hmm. Yeah. No, it's definitely. I think it's definitely geared towards a little bit more of a mature audience. I want to say that it's kind of Disney Plus is testing the. I don't want to say the boundaries, but like I guess the audience as well.
Mhm.
Like kind of seeing like
They're
how
getting
many
people
people are
ready.
how many people are into more mature themed kind of
They're getting people
content and
ready
stuff
for
like that.
Deadpool and the X-Men is what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're getting ready. Getting people ready for. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Disney's always got a master plan on everything, though.
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's one of the fun things about like all these like the comic book movies and shows now, and like just comic books in general, because it all goes back to storytelling and like how they tell these stories over these,
Mm-hmm.
as far as comic books over like how many issues they have these giant story arcs, but and then like now we see it in the movies where like the MCU is like 22 movies long. Now it's got like these TV shows that they're working into it, but it's all like kind of like one big story. Um, so I
Well, I'll
mean,
tell you, talking about that same thing, and going back into the comic books, is I like to read comics. Um, I've noticed that with the comic series, they do 6 books, right? So it's like, oh, new number one. I'm against that. I don't like the whole new number one thing every time.
hmm
But they are like for old codgers like me or whatever, curmudgeons like me, if I'm saying it right now. They're like,
yeah,
well, we got the legacy number. It's 893, sir. you know.
hmm
But they've got the 6 books, right? And it's like number 1 through 6 or whatever, and they just re-roll it the whole time, every time.
yeah,
Like I saw Amazing Spider-Man number 1 again. I'm like, how many times are we gonna do that, y'all?
hmm
But then they do that, and people like these alt covers, and there's like 5 million different covers, and then they make them into trade paperbacks, and they're like, oh, this story arc is a trade paperback, and I think honestly, it's great in a way, and it's like excessive in another way. I think it's great because it's like a great incubator for movie ideas. And there've been a lot of great movie ideas that came about, I feel like, from comic books and stuff.
yeah,
I feel like it's excessive because it's like, okay, well, why do we have another number one again? And it's
hmm
because they sell. I mean, like that. I've talked to a couple of different people around the area,
yeah,
and that's how they sell books, is they get these collectors that they want A, B, C, D cover, alt cover this, or whatever. And so I think it's a smart business proposition. I think that what they're doing is smart. I just get tired of seeing number one over and over again myself. I'm like,
hmm
I'd rather have that Legacy 893 on the
yeah,
cover than, hey, number one again, number one again, number one again. I'm like, how many
yeah,
number ones are there? I mean, like, there's only one number one.
yeah, yeah.
So we got to do the station break real quick here, Josh. Everybody, you're tuning in today. This is the Adam Messer Show. I'm your host, Adam Messer, with my special guest, Josh Vasquez. And we're talking about like just nerdy stuff that we like and writing and stuff like that. So,
when we say that WRUU is a community radio station, it doesn't just mean that we invite the community to create programming. And it doesn't just mean that we are a voice for the community. It also means that we are counting on the community to keep us going. And you are the community. Almost all of our modest budget comes from small annual or monthly donations from listeners like you. You get to enjoy our community-focused programming because many others have stepped forward to do their part. Now do your part by joining our community of listener donors. Go to wruu.org right now and make a one-time or monthly donation. And thank you for supporting Savannah's community radio station, 107.5 FM.
This is a message from the Georgia State Department of Public Health. There is a State of Georgia hotline people can call with questions or if they think they may have been exposed to the COVID-19 virus. It is 1-844-442-2681. If you believe you're experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 or have been exposed to the novel coronavirus, please contact your primary care doctor, an urgent care clinic, or your local federally qualified healthcare center. Please do not show up at an emergency room or healthcare facility unannounced. More information can be found at dph.georgia.gov. This portion of WRUU Savannah Soundings programming is provided by listeners and by Brighter Day Natural Foods. Brighter Day Natural Foods has been serving Savannah's healthy food and supplement needs since 1978. It is located at the corner of Bull Street and Park Avenue. They have available online ordering and curbside delivery, and now a walk-up window for smoothies, juices, and sandwiches from the deli. They are open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 12 to 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. More information can be found at brighterdayfoods.com.
All right, and we are back on the radio.
All right.
So welcome back. Yeah. So yeah, man, my question for you, like, I know you're not so much a big comic book reader, but you're avid comic book movie fan.
Mm-hmm.
And what got you into like the comic? Because I mean, like, I know, all kidding aside, I mean, like, Marvel has just done a phenomenal job with the movies and all. And Disney, they've done a great job with Marvel over the years. I mean, I know some people were kind of worried about it, but I was like, Disney's pretty, they're pretty smart. What got you into the comic book hero movies? And I mean, I know you not just like the comic book hero movies. You like a lot of different kind of movies, but
yeah. Well, I've always been into comic books, and like I used to have like a whole bunch that an uncle gave me, and but as far as like like regularly reading them and stuff like that, I never really was into. I think the first comic books that I was really introduced to was me and my grandma would walk down to the like little corner convenience store to get like a donut, and they had like the little
spinner rack.
The little spinner rack of comic books on there. And I always liked getting the Sonic the Hedgehog comic books.
Oh yeah.
And that were done by like Archie Comics.
Yeah.
So I still have a bunch of those. But yeah, that's how I got kind of into comic books. And then, like I said, I had the uncle gave me a bunch of. It was just like two of those brown like collector boxes kind of deals, just full of just a different like all sorts of like old, some recent stuff from like DuckTales comic books to Superman to old Batman issues to there was a couple of Sandman, Neil Gaiman stuff in there. Just odds and ends, all sorts of different stuff. So I've always liked the idea of comic books, but as far as like actually getting into them and reading them, it's just one of those things I never really just did, pretty much. Because like kind of how you're saying with like the whole like number one and all that, like all the different types of number ones, it's like, okay, like when I was a kid, like there wasn't like internet, so I couldn't just look up like, all right, where am I supposed to start
right
with this series? Like it would take going to a comic book store and like asking someone and like talking, and like that was just something I never did. But of course, once the Marvel movies like started coming out with like Iron Man and all that, I mean, Iron Man was just this interesting because like Marvel had pretty much like given away all the rights of their like cool characters to other studios to make these movies, so they were kind of like left over with these characters that not many people cared about as much, and then that first Iron Man movie came out, and it was such a hit, and then just like the following movies were just so much fun. It's just like one of those things that was kind of easy to get into,
and that really resurrected Robert Downey Jr.'s career. I mean, at the time, I mean, he was always a big star or whatever, but I know that becoming Iron Man and just solidifying that role, I feel like it's like, okay, you kicked off a legacy here with these movies and anything that Disney does, man. I mean, like, I know it sounds crazy to me to say this, but I feel like anything that Disney does, they, even the ones that aren't like really popular, they last, and they always have some kind of fan base, around them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you especially like even look at like the Scarlet Witch. I mean, she's been like a side character since like Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had like small little like arcs and stuff in there with like Vision and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they have Disney Plus and they have like this whole show, like she's become like this huge, like like a main character. And so
the Falcon. I mean, the Falcon was always like a side hero.
Same thing with that. And like I mean, I know you saw like the first half of the show and all that. I mean, he really kind of takes charge in that that first half, and it's really cool to see him do that. I don't want to spoil the rest of the show for you.
I've seen some spoilers already, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody else either. But but the weird thing about it is, I feel like it's good though when they take over a property or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because even like earlier this week, y'all, because I'm a little toy nerd, and Josh, you have like stuff that you like, like Magic the Gathering or whatever, and we just we have different things that we like, collectible type stuff, and we got on the topic this week, y'all, talking about toys, and so Hasbro is the manufacturer for like big brands like Transformers and G.I. Joe, My Little Pony. They also own Wizards of Coast, which is they put out Dungeons and Dragons, and they put out Magic the Gathering, and they make more money off of Magic the Gathering and the Dungeons and Dragons stuff than they make off any other toy lines. I saw this article last week talking about it, and we got to talking about the toys because Disney has never really put out toys. They've always worked with companies like Hasbro and Mattel, and like the Star Wars franchise stuff. That's always been like a Hasbro thing. I don't know, back in the day, I think it was Kenner, which is owned by Hasbro now.
Yeah, they bought out Kenner.
Right, and but Disney's always licensed that property through that. And it's weird because I say it's weird, but it's not weird in a way like it's bad for business, but it's just weird to me, like, to think, okay, so like Transformers is Hasbro. Like Transformers is my thing, y'all. I just love Transformers or whatever. Just kind of like Josh with you, Star Wars is like your thing that you love. Hasbro like is the toy manufacturer, and they partner with Takara or Tommy Takara or whatever to do the Transformers, and they had a Transformer line where it was like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and whatever, where they were like Disney Transformers, and they've had over the years like Marvel Transformers and Star Wars Transformers, and they've had like these crossover different brands and whatever. And it sounds kind of strange, but especially now that we don't have Toys R Us, Toys R Us, y'all, KB Toys and, whatever. You get the big box stores that have, they have these toy lines in there or whatever. And I just remember as a kid, man, and this is, I guess, nostalgia for me now, but I just remember as a kid, the cartoons would come out. You'd watch the new Transformer show or whatever, and or you get the new comic book or whatever, and it would highlight like it's so funny, but it's always like that that formula of oh my gosh, the Autobots are in distress, the Decepticons have a new Decepticon that's the baddest of the bad, and they're beating up all the Autobots, and then all of a sudden a new Autobot shows up, the hero and champion of the day. And that was related and tied into like a toy, right? And so like even with the Transformer line, they've got this new Netflix series that they've been doing, like with this computer generated stuff, the CGI stuff, and they've got it related to the toys. So like this year's the 25th anniversary of Beast Wars. Came out like 96, I believe. Yeah, it'd be 25th. So they've got the new comic book series, they got the new toy line and all that. And for me, that is like a tangible part of like, the story, because believe it or not, y'all, the action figures that are out today are like incredible compared to like some of the stuff back in the day. Like I think Star Wars was one of the first ones to ever do the 3.75 inch figures.
Yeah.
And they had such a what was it? You had to mail away to get the figures when they first came out, or something like that.
That was the production for the figures wasn't even done by the time the movie came out, and then the movie was such a big hit that what Kenner had to do was like, hey, like you can buy this basically cardboard play set, and I think it came with maybe one figure. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like basically it gave you like you could send away like this proof of purchase and receive one figure like every, I don't know, month or something like that when they came out.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's so crazy how we've advanced so much. I mean, like even Magic the Gathering, dude, I remember that came out I think in the early 90s or late 80s or something like that. And I mean, before that there weren't like collectible card games like that. I mean, they had, like even as a kid, they had different cards, because baseball cards have been around for a long time. But like Magic the Gathering came on the scene. It's like, oh hey, here we go, y'all, about to giddy up, let's go.
Yeah, because I mean, like baseball cards and other sports cards and all that are great and all that, and they're great collector's items. But I mean, that's really all you do with them. Where Magic brought the the fun of collecting and all the like getting certain cards and stuff like that. Plus, there's an actual game mechanic that you can play and that you can trade out your decks and stuff like that. Like it took the fun of collecting cards, but also made it a game and made it where you would want to keep buying more cards.
Yeah, and like Pokemon, I think this is a 25th anniversary of Pokemon or something like that.
I feel like I should know the answer to that question, but it's something like that. Yeah, I think it's 25th.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we've had a lot of stuff change in the last 30 something years, and with even the last 10 or 15 years with social media stuff, the way we consume content and storytelling. And I know it's like a long, drawn out, I went around the bridge to get to the river type thing, but it's all the way we consume content is different.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like you can watch a full blown movie on your phone.
Yeah.
Instantly. And anywhere.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, it was like, hey, this movie's coming out. Get your tickets now because it's going to be sold out opening night, Yeah. That's a huge thing, especially with the events of like this past year, like, we'd have to go to the movie theater to see these brand new movies. And now it's like, hey, for just an extra like, $14.99 or, something like that, you can watch this brand new movie and the comfort of your own home. What's that new Disney one? Raya, Raya, I think, or Raya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raya and the Last Dragon, I think it is.
Okay, they have that on Disney, and you can watch it for $29.99. And I was like, wow, that's not bad considering. Now I know people are like, oh my god, $29.99. Hold your horses for a second here. Let me explain. I'm just going to explain from like a non-neckbeard looking outlook because I don't have a beard, and anyway, I don't want people like want to kill me because I'm saying this. Actually, it's 3:45. I got to do the station ID. Everybody, you're tuning in today to WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org, and it is the 3:45 mark. So that means that we've got some more live music, and you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait for my non-neckbeard opinion, y'all. Just a minute. Here's Sebastian Messer. You got it. Awesome. Thank you, Bess. You still there with me, Josh?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. So, and I'm not trying to call anybody names. I'm just saying neckbeard because, like, that's just kind of a common term for elitists out there. You know, if you're not in the nerd community, that's what it kind of means. It's like, oh, you know, you're not as big of a fan as I am, so you're not allowed to have an opinion. But
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this for $29.99, right? Especially being a dad, you know, when my kids were little, we did not have Disney Plus. Obviously, Netflix and stuff came the last 10 years or so, or whatever, maybe the last 10 or 12 years, or something like that. Didn't have the streaming stuff. The video stores started closing slowly. You know, you had the Redbox and Blockbuster started closing. The mom and pop video stores started closing. And so it kind of left you with limited choices, right? Well, I would have happily paid $30 when my kids were little for them to be able to watch a brand new Disney movie at home on our TV, and they have their popcorn and their candy and, whatever they want, versus paying $150 for 5 people to go to the movie theater and drinks and popcorn and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know that movie theater people are like, oh, you're killing the movie. Oh, okay, I gotcha. There are people still going to go to the theater. they're still going to go when they can go. But, $30, and then I'm still going to end up buying the movie. You know that. I mean, you're going to end up buying the movie. So, I feel like that's a decent service. And the reason why I say that is because, and I'm going to go back to something that this last year, when you talked about like this last year, covering conventions and going to conventions and doing conventions, there are a lot of people who have different reasons or issues that prevent them from being able to go to conventions. The same thing with movie theaters. Like my Uncle Donald, who passed away recently, he had Parkinson's disease. There's no way he could have been able to go to the movie theater, But being able to watch a movie at home when it comes out, I mean, man, how inclusive is that? To me, it's like, yes, we can make this so you can watch it at home. You don't have to, put yourself in any kind of jeopardy or risk or anything like that, So that's my little soapbox about that. Can you hear me, Josh?
You still there?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay. All right. It just sounded like it was kind of like breaking up there for a second, so I was like, don't lose the phone call.
I know, right? So, yeah, that's, like I said, that's my little soapbox about it. What do you think, man?
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, especially when you break down that price amongst, 3, 4, 5 family members and all that. It makes more sense that way. I mean, I myself will not be purchasing it for $29.99. I'll be waiting until June until it comes out.
And that's understandable too. I mean, that's the cool thing about it is you have the option.
Yeah.
You have that choice.
Yeah. But I did pay that $14.99 for HBO Max so I could watch the Snyder cut. So there is that.
Well, I mean, and that's your choice. You have, like, we didn't have that option 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying with the storytelling, kind of like I said, going around the bridge, get around to the river, that delivery is different, but storytelling is still the same. It's like, people love a good story.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just sounds so crazy sometimes. I feel like to think about it, because no matter what we're doing, like if we're playing Magic the Gathering, or if I'm like nerding out about a Transformer comic book or whatever, it's the story that is going along with it, right? Or Star Wars, for example, Star Trek. I mean, I'm a big Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek. Anything that you enjoy, I don't care if it's a Western or it's a history book or something like that, everything is some kind of story.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not necessarily the best storyteller out there, and I'm not always the most interesting person in the world, but, I can spin a good yarn or two here and there.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, like, too, about, like, especially with, like, starting Valhalla Books and all that, and, like, as like a publishing company and everything, like the authors and all that we have that are going to be publishing with us, we're pretty and not diversity for diversity's sake. It's just we're all kind of we've worked together on projects before and stuff like that. Kind of you're the one that kind of
I feel like I'm the
connects us
Nick
all
Fury
together.
of Valhalla Books. I've pulled the
Yeah,
team
yeah.
together.
And
You're like my Captain America.
I'll take that. But yeah, it's like, like storytelling is just, that's a core of what Valhalla Books is. Like,
Sebastian's
we're all here
Thor.
just to tell stories.
Yeah.
And yeah, we might come from it from different angles and stuff like that, but like it's the one thing that kind of unites us all together is that we're all here to tell good stories. And yeah.
Yeah, that is something I think, like, and I'm not tooting our own horn here, and I will admit I did nominate our book for an award. I mean, like, I submitted it, but we made the final ballot for the Pulp Factory Awards, and they've got the voting open now. But I submitted it. I mean, like, it's just like anything else. I mean, you can submit your own books to these award stuff out there. It doesn't mean that they're going to, like, I submitted our book for the Bram Stoker awards, and we were on the initial reading list, but we didn't make it to the next round, for that. So, but being on the Pulp Factory Awards thing for the Devil's Due, I feel like is a pretty neat little accomplishment. Even if we don't win, being on the final ballot's a nice little thing, and so I'm excited, dude, about your director's cut coming out on the 30th. I'm gonna be sending out an email to the list today or tomorrow, one of the two, because you sent out an email last week, so I want to kind of space it out a little bit, but I do want to remind people, like, hey,
and especially like, nowadays it just seems like so divided things. And I think that's one of the things that really gives me some hope about Valhalla Books is that our goal is to tell stories and to bring people together from all different kinds of walks of life. So yeah,
I really like sharing compelling fiction that people love to read. I mean, that's one of the things I enjoy. Especially, and go back to this. I mean, I know we only got like a minute or so left, but going back to this, like from when I first met you, and I was just a journalist writing about you and your book, to fast forward, 6 years later, here we are. You're publishing your book. We're working together. You're doing all these things, and for me, that's exciting. I feel like it's really cool. And so yeah, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate your friendship, and appreciate you being part of Valhalla Books and for Valhalla, right?
yeah. It's been fun, and I'm excited to see where the next 6 years go.
I know, man. I know. So, well, thanks, Josh, for coming on the show today, dude. And I really like doing. What is the website? It's Savannah Zombie Novel, right? Or is it Savannah?
Yes.
I always get it messed up. Is it SavannahZombieNovel.com?
Yes.
Okay, because I always want to put series on it, like Savannah Zombie Novel series, like long name, amazing results, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's somebody else's tagline. So, all right, man. Well, thanks a lot, dude. I'm gonna play this as an encore for the next hour too. So,
all right. Well, thanks for having me on, Adam.
All right, talk to you later, man. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, everybody. So, you just heard it, and Josh.